Alrighty, well, just got back from Bahrain last Friday. It's Monday morning, so lined up all my parts and things like that. I'm gonna go through a list of parts that I've been collecting over the last several months that were waiting on me when I got back here. It's like Christmas in October, basically. First thing we got is the camera mount to go on the scope. So you attach it to the scope like that, and then the camera sits right back here. I'm going to end up using the camera that I got right now on the tripod for videotaping this. It'll screw right on to that bolt there, and I'll be able to shoot through the scope and get some cool scope action going on. And I've also got the wokgard 15, stiffen up the frame a little bit, and next piece is actually a pretty cool little pistol grip there, got from Acid Tactical. It's got the skull print on there, and what I'm going to end up having to do is take this tang off of the back there. Just use a Dremel tool, chop it right off of there, but everything else fits good, snug right up on the watt guard and everything, so I'll be able to get that on. Got the Talon Tunes carbon fiber tank. It took me about an hour to pump this thing up, sets of 100, take a break for 2-3 minutes, and then do another set of 100, but I got it up to 3400 psi last night with my hill pump, and yeah, it wasn't exactly fun, but got it done. And it's got the Talon Tunes quick change top hat in there, and the valve is off of my stock Condor, my other tank that I got, and it's got a 20 thousandths little shim in there underneath the top hat. So that way it doesn't dump the tank. And we're going to see what we can get out of that. I got 924 feet per second with a 45 grain 1E slug, which I got from John and the Camper off of Gateway to Air Guns. You got your little inserts and all that for the quick change top hat. We've got the bubble level that I'm going to bolt onto the gun. Goes right on the scope rail. Set of O-rings and everything. Then we've got the Talon Tunes power hammer spring. It's going to go in there. I've already got the 95 grain hammer in there with the O-ring mod, so it doesn't slap around. I've got the Talon Tunes trigger spring that I'm going to put in there when I get the watt guard all ready to go on. Now for the really cool stuff, got a full night vision setup. This scope right here, we were playing with it last night. It's actually pretty impressive because we were looking out around the neighborhood with it, and man, you can see plain as day what's out there at nighttime with no moon. It was actually all cloud cover last night. It's got the red crosshairs in there, just a standard crosshair reticle that you can adjust, but it is pretty impressive. And that came with the flashlight, IR illuminator. It works pretty damn good. It's like turning on a flashlight and you can only see it. Got me a little friend here. But comes the IR illuminator. It's just like turning on a flashlight when you got the scope on and everything. And then we got the spotting scope, same company. It's for a little man to help me. So when I got the gun out and all that good stuff, we're gonna be coyote hunting. He's got a spotting scope, so he can spot for me. And got the laser, green and IR laser. And again, you turn on the IR laser, you can only see it through the night vision scopes, which is pretty cool. And then the green laser, you can see that through the fog. It was actually pretty interesting looking because you could see it all over the place. We've got the Razor Ballistics turret. This just mounts right on top of your scope turret. And what you do with that is all the different colors that you have in here, the pins, you stick them at different spots on the wheel up here, so that when you get it set up, say you got 1-0 at 25 yards, one at 50 yards, one at 75, one at 100, instead of having to remember how many clicks you've got it set up on the wheel, and you just turn it, click, 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 and you're set up right to that 0. So it pretty much, as soon as you can turn the knob, bam, you're instantly set up and ready to rock and roll on your new 0. So that way it takes out all the compensation. You just switch it and go. And to go on the Aeon scope from Talon Tunes, I got the scope side wheel, make it a little bit easier to adjust the AO on there. Got the Hawk Sport Optics mounts, so I can slide this thing back and forth wherever I need it to mount up at. Then we got the Aeon scope. I got the 6-24 by 50 side focus, and I just need to get the sunshade because it wasn't in the box. It's supposed to come with a 3-inch sunshade. I'll get a hold of Tony about that today. Get that squared away. But looking forward to getting that thing on there and seeing what happens. And then ordered a spare tank. This is before Tony got his carbon fiber tanks. So I got this one set up for target shooting. It's got the smallest insert inside there and a 20 thousandths washer underneath there. It gives me about 840 feet per second with the 25.4 grain JSB monsters with that set up. And last time, this is where keeping all your notes comes in really handy. You know, got my little setup and all that good stuff. All the shooting notes from last couple of years. But I went through there, it was like, okay, this was a setup I was happy with. The smallest insert, 20 thousandths washer underneath the top hat. And again, it gives me right about 40 foot-pounds of energy, which is more than enough for my ground squirrel problem that I got out here, and I definitely need to take care of since I've been gone. But that's the list of parts. Here's the gun as it sits right now. Go ahead and set it up here if I can find room. Just a Airforce Condor. It's got the 95 grain Talon slap mod hammer in it. I'm going to be putting the wokgard on there. Got a couple little rail adapters for Picatinny rails. One on the front. It's got a UTG bipod. R&L shroud with I think it comes with 4 or 5 baffles inside there. And I got the little stainless steel screw for my power wheel adjustment screw. Other than that, you know, just polish the barrel and things like that. A lot of little work. But we're going to get her all dressed up with all these parts. And there's the before. And I will set it up to show you the after here in a little bit. So, till the... Alright, so for the next step, I'm going to show you the Talon trigger that I put in there, the trigger spring and everything. Got the Lyman digital trigger gauge. Now before, I wasn't thinking I didn't video it on a factory trigger spring and all that good stuff. It was running right about 2.5 pounds on the stock trigger spring. Now I installed the wokgard, you know, and put the Talon trigger spring in there, the acid tactical grip. You know, it gives it a whole lot better feel. And the trigger is now sitting where it breaks right about 11 ounces. So let me adjust this to where hopefully the camera will be able to see it. Make sure I didn't booger anything up. And forgot to hit the ready button. Alright, so now we're all ready to rock and roll. There we go. That one broke at 1 pound. Set it. Broke at 1 pound 1 ounce. I broke at 14 ounces. So it's sitting right about 1 pound trigger pull right now to get this thing to go off, which is fantastic. I love a nice light trigger. Pretty much all of them on most of my guns is set right around 1 to 1.5 pounds. So helps out with the accuracy, I feel. And I'm going to run it over the chronograph. So right now I got a standard stock tank. Got the Talon quick change top hat with a 25 thousandths washer underneath there for a spacer to take up. And it should be getting me right about 40 foot-pounds of energy the way this thing's set up right now with the 25 grain JSB monsters. And We'll get the crony set up. Full setup. We got the R&L shroud on the front. Got my green and IR laser. So when I throw the night vision on there, I can have, you know, IR laser to spot for the coyote hunts. I've got the little bubble level on there to make sure I'm level. Wokgard, stiffen up the frame. Put that on. It was a little bit tricky with all the springs inside there, and basically disabled the safety. Safety don't work no more, but the gun functions flawlessly. Never really did like the safety anyway. And then the Acid Tactical grip on there, you know, the Wokgard. This thing bolted right up nice and easy. We got the Talon Tunes quick change top hat with the washer underneath it and the smallest insert in there, 95 grain hammer. I took the heavy hammer spring out because I'm just using light pressure, don't need the extra hammer to overcome, you know, high pressure and things like that. And the gun itself is set pretty much as low as it'll go, set at 0-0. So got a lot of adjustment if, you know, I ever decide to adjust it. Got the Aeon scope on there, my Razor Ballistics deal on there, so I can just turn it to whatever zero I want. I'm going to zero it at 25 yards, 40 yards, 55, and 65 yards. You know, it's about the distance to my targets and all that. The wheel on the side, nice big wheel for adjusting your AO, makes it a lot easier to do. And of course the Talon Tunes tank cover, so makes the rifle fit pretty good. Okay, so I just received a box from fantastic member known as John in the Camper, or John. He sent me some custom made rounds from Pellet Garden. What he's going at on the address. The packaging on these things, fantastic. You really can't beat it. The box is definitely taped up very well. It's got extra padding in there, and then when you get a hold of the pellets themselves, they come sealed in a bag, and then they're vacuum sealed again around the actual pellets. And then when you open it up, it's got the tape down foam, and you can see inside there it's got the little bit of like wooden stuff in there for padding. Each pellet has an individual hole, and these ones right here are going to be 50 grain 218s, and so hopefully they will shoot pretty good. We're always trying to get to that 100 foot-pounds of energy out of a 22 caliber Condor, so cannot wait till Monday when I was going to try and wait to put everything together and do a little test video. It's Saturday, can't wait, so I'm going to run 2 of them across the crony real quick. Now for a size comparison on a 45 grain slug, you can see it's basically got the tip of it just like a 44 caliber type pistol bullet, you know, almost like a wad cutter. It's called a Keith Debbie, and then the end of it, it's got his little boat tail on there. And he makes fantastic ammo. The finish on these things is just unbelievable. And compared side by side with a Eugene 32 grain pellet, so you got the size of them. The difference is the Eugene is not a solid cylindrical pellet. It's actually shaped like a normal pellet and all that good stuff. So that's where the big weight difference comes from. It's also hollow on the ends down there. So Eugene, fantastic pellet. The gun shoots them very well, but the problem was they were going way too fast out of the gun, so we started going heavier and heavier and heavier to try and again get to that 100 foot-pounds of energy mark. So I've got 2 of them out, ready to rock and roll. The Condor is set up, ready to go. And the way I've got the Condor set up again is going to be the carbon fiber Talon Tunes tank. 3400 psi. It's got the Talon Tunes quick change top hat. I've got a 25 thousandths washer underneath it because I've actually had a few tank dumps and I really don't feel like pumping that thing back up with my hill pump up to 3400 psi. It took quite a long time, so we're going to start out conservative, see what we can get, and then on Monday, like I said, when I really start doing my trials, I'll maybe thin out that washer and see how close we can get to no washer with the wide open Talon Tunes top hat and see if we can get away without a tank dump. I also have a decibel meter coming in, so right now you're going to get a little bit close to the barrel, and you'll be able to hear kind of sort of how loud it is. So we will have a decibel meter hopefully on Monday, so we'll be able to tell exactly how loud the gun is. All set up. Alright, for my backstop, I've got a standard ammo can filled with about 6 inches of foam. Behind that is 3 layers of Kevlar body armor insert. So no worries about it going through. Those are really tight. Seated all the way, and here we go. Maiden voyage. Holy cow. 884. That really rocked the ammo can as well. I hope we got that. I'm going to change the camera around a little bit so you can see. That almost knocked my backstop over. I've never had anything move that ammo can like that. That was a solid hit. And the second one. Smash some suckers in there. Let me write down my totals. 884.3. And just for giggles, to give you a comparison, I'll go ahead and launch this 32 grain UGN last as well. Alrighty, number 2. 866. 866 even. And now for the 32 grain UGN, just to see how fast we can make this sucker go. We're definitely hogging the air with this setup, but yeah, 32 grain UGN. We're probably running about 2,800 PSI right now because it really dumps the air on this thing. But 1,036. Alright, so for right now, not bad. I'll add up the numbers real quick and we'll be able to put those things in, but man, that thing is definitely rocking my backstop and puts a perfect hole in the paper. So we go back here and you look, those 2 shots right there and right there, those are the ones with the 50 grain pellets that we just got from John the Camper, and they actually make a pretty clean hole right through the paper. So, well, till the next installment, and then we'll try and get this video all put together for a full review of everything. You guys have a good one. Alright, so here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to take the 50 grain flat nose, basically a wad cutter. It's Keith Baby, I think is what they call the tip of it again. I keep forgetting the name of it. But either way, I have taken the washer out from underneath the top hat on the Condor. So we're going to run this 3,400 PSI Talon Tunes quick change top hat, wide open. Nothing underneath the top hat. Usually I run a 25 thousandths washer or thicker underneath there. But we're going to see if we can get this fired across here without a tank dump. So we will see what happens. Got your earplugs in, bud?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. That sucked. God damn it.
What happened?
Tank dump.
God, it sounds like an explosion.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, got them up to 910 feet per second. hit right about the exact same spot as the other ones, but I'm not going to pump this thing back up. And I also got to take my R&L shroud apart to make sure it didn't damage anything inside there. So, that is a tank dump from 3,400 psi. Not going to be fun pumping this thing back up with my hell pump. But, till next time, have a good one. Alright, so here we go. Pumped it back up. I didn't think it would, but I did. Can't help myself. So we were sitting here at 3,400 psi after the last tank dump and all that good stuff. Let's make sure we get everything. Alright, so the last tank fill was a 3,400 psi fill and no washer under the top hat. Talon-Tunes top hat wide open, 95 grain hammer, stock spring, power wheel set at 0, and 50 grain John and the Camper slug. So we're doing another 50 grain slug because we got the last one up to 91.91 foot-pounds of energy. So we're doing another 50 grain slug, but I put a .019. I was trying to get it to 20 thousandths, but .019 is what I ended up with because I went a little bit too long on the sanding. But so here we go. Let's see if we can keep a shot going without a tank dump. No tank dump, 50 grain slug, 916.6.
I say we just hit it with the hammer.
Oh, you're Jewel. Hold on. Alright, so here we go. 3,400 psi. I just can't leave this thing alone. We have a .015 washer instead of a .025 washer underneath the top hat. We did a wide open with no washer underneath the top hat and all that good stuff, and it did a tank dump. So now we're doing a .015 to see how thin we can go before it starts to dump. Anyway, this is with a 45 grain 3/4 E slug instead of the 50 grain slug because I want to have a control. I already know what the 45 grains do with all kinds of other different measurements. So here we go, 45 grain slug. 959.5. So 959.5 with a 45 grain 3/4 E slug from John and the Camper. I'll do that. So here we go. Same setup as before. Carbon fiber tank, .015 washer, Talon-Tunes quick change top hat wide open, 50 grain .218 from John and the Camper. Got the 45 grain smoking fast. So here's the 50. 50 grain, 910 feet per second. That is monster foot-pounds of energy for a 22 caliber. So we will add up and we'll add this to the review. As you can see, it almost knocked over my backstop. Phenomenal power.